throughout this. Banks was getting off on his pen. I still think his delivery is a little. He did nothing to really like mix it up and like change up anything, but what he's saying is top tier.
I don't find a flaw at all in his music outside of him just refusing to do. I think he refuses to go to the status quo. He's just he has his fan base and he's gonna do it to death. So I love that about him, and I love that he sticks to the formula.
Welcome back, people. This is Don't Sleep on the Couch podcast. I'm your boy, Mr. Prez, and with me always.
Yes, it's your boy Cash, aka Exec P. What's happening, good people?
All right, Cash, for the people who never heard of us, don't know what we do, could you tell them what we about?
Well, we're about music, sports, entertainment, culture, and we do that each and every week. Every Tuesday, you'll get a little bit of music, a little bit of culture, a little bit of entertainment. Sometimes you may get all entertainment. It just depends on what direction we go. But you can get that each and every Tuesday here on Don't Sleep on the Couch podcast. So that's it, man, in a nutshell.
No, that's it about what we do. But what we about to do right now.
Hey, man,
this
we got
right
the mid-year.
here.
It's the mid-year wrap-up, man.
All right, yeah, man. These hey, start off just doing them annually, hey, but you need to take a look back throughout the year to make sure your list is stacking up correctly. This is our sanity check. You know what I mean?
Yeah, self-correcting, absolutely. So we have to self-correct for sure.
Yeah. So what do we have on this one? Which ones are we gonna get into?
Oh, for this category, so we're going to break this up. So the first categories that you all will be hearing is Veteran of the Year, of the Mid-Year, and also the Rising Star so far in 2021. So that's really the two categories. We have a list for you and just some people you should check out, some honorable mentions, and whatever tangent Prez and I go off on.
Yeah. Man, you in the South today? You got a sweat rag and everything else out here, man.
Hey, nah, for y'all that's listening and also the ones that's watching, I'm in Germany. There's no air condition, so you got to get it how you live. It's a shame when you got to go outside in 85-degree weather versus being in your normal studio because it's a hot box. So new location. I don't know how long it's going to last, but, man, it is hot out here, man. Whew.
Man, yeah. I don't feel sorry for you. I suffered through that for many years. Back stateside now, got this nice AC, man. I'm good.
Yeah, man.
But let's go on and get into it, Cash.
For sure. So
where you want to
start with?
Let's go on and jump into the veterans.
Okay.
You know what I mean? The vets coming back into the game, may have been away for a while or just don't have their name mentioned in all the big crowds anymore. Show them their just due. They still doing it, they still killing it. These are those type of guys in the game that we see.
And just because they're a veteran doesn't mean that we're giving them their own list because the music ain't hot. It's because they're still putting out quality material at a high level. And even some of these so-called veterans we have on this list, there's veterans on album of the mid-year, album of the year. It just depends on how it goes. Some of these veterans may move up into album of the year, the top 10. So you may never know. Stick around, holla at us in December. But for right now, let's start with what we got, top 3 or top 5?
It's top 3.
Top
for
3.
The veterans.
Okay. Yeah, so some room for some extras. All right, man. So start it off. Who you got at number 3 and why?
Number 3, I got Lloyd Banks.
What?
The Course of the Inevitable. Yes. I don't know how people took the review as I was hating on Banks. I tried to articulate correctly what I felt about him. I said, like, if you like this style of rap, which I do, you're gonna like it. as far as if he did nothing to draw you in any further though, draw in those newer listeners. If they tone out that type of rap, he didn't do nothing to like sway him in a little bit, in my opinion. But what he did with his pen game is bar none. I mean, you can go check out our review where we talk about all the hot tracks and everything. But I think like my favorite one on there is Plain Pleasure and Paranoia. But throughout this, Banks was getting off on his pen. I still think his delivery is a little. He did nothing to really like mix it up and like change up anything, but what he's saying is top tier. Still like the album, still listen at a couple songs on here. I don't the full project, I ain't gonna say like up and down like I'm listening to every song, but there are some gems and stuff on here that I definitely listen to weekly. So
at number 3 for me, well, you know what? Before we even get to number 3, how did we get here? After episode 110 and 111 explaining how you felt about it, how did you get here? Was it just happened to be he was one of the only few veterans that dropped, or you genuinely like the album?
Like it's with that style rap, like I mean, like most of it ain't gonna catch you. Like it don't put you in a certain mood, like right off jump. Like so, listen to it. It's like, hey, as I listen more and more to the album, it matures a little bit with you. You know what I mean? You gain a little bit more affection towards it, and that's how it's been. It's just like one of those albums just off jump didn't catch fire with me, but I mean it's been in that steady rotation, and I liked it. You know what I mean? So that's how I got in. It's nothing to do with however many vets or little amount of vets to put up in there. It was a product that he put out that I liked. Do I think it deserves all the hype? No, but I mean, that's people who are locked into a box and saying like, hey, no, it's top tier on everything, but it's not if you want to look at the more well-rounded artists. I ain't gonna be. I'm still gonna have my stance on that. As far as just like being that well-rounded and they can play in any setting, this ain't that album that does it. But is it good work? Yes.
For sure. So for number 3, I have Skyzoo, All the Brilliant Things. Now this dude, man, Brooklyn rapper, for those of you who are not familiar, I probably started listening to him back in '05, '06, Ninth Wonder mixtape, Cloud 9. I think that was my first introduction to him, and so many more projects, group projects, individual solo albums later, he's still delivering at a high clip, man. Like, I'm still combing through all the things he's saying on All the Brilliant Things. It came out maybe about 1 or 2 weeks ago as we record this, and I'm listening to it and I'm like, yo, his pen is so elite, and I don't know why enough people not talking about this one the same way. Maybe because he doesn't have the acclaim of a Lloyd Banks, maybe the affiliation of a Jim Jones, who are also other veterans that dropped some 5 projects this year. But I feel like when we talking about spitters, when we talking about guys that put songs together, hooks, everything that you ask for in a so-called spitter, he does that on All the Brilliant Things. Everything from Fine Jewelry, song Fine Jewelry, what else was it? St. James Liquors. There's so many more joints on here, man. Humble Brag. I was supposed to be a trap rapper. Like he went there towards the end and shows you.
That's that one.
Yeah, he went there and shows you that, like, yo, I could do it on any level. You know what I mean? And I feel like those are the guys that we should be championing. Those are the guys that we should be giving the props. Those are the guys that should get their flowers now, because he's been in the game about 15 years, damn near. Or if he has been, and I just don't hear his name come up enough in how he picks beats. Like, I don't find a flaw at all in his music outside of him just refusing to do. I think he refuses to go to the status quo. He's just he has his fan base and he's gonna do it to death. So I love that about him, and I love that he sticks to the formula that works for him and doesn't necessarily do the same things that we hear on the trap rapper thing. Like, I like the guys that win doing their thing. So All the Brilliant Things, that's the one for me, man. Like, and the only reason it's probably at number 3 at this current moment is the recency of it all. I haven't had a chance to soak it up like a Jim Jones or Lloyd Banks or any other album that came out a little bit earlier in the year. So, but I can see this is going to be hard to move this out of this category for me when we do the end of the year wrap up, man. So that's Sky Zoo, number 3, All the Brilliant Things.
All right, that takes us to number 2. Number 2 for me is Jim Jones, The Fraud Department.
This man just taking the guys that he said he ain't like in the past. Oh man, tell me about it.
And I told you, yeah, this is where if you can doing a comparison between him and Lloyd Banks, this is what I'm saying. Like somebody who done like changed up a little bit and became a little bit more that's approachable in their music, their sound. And Jim Jones has elevated each and every time he done dropped something, and that's what I done like. The El Capo, magnificent album. This right here, you know, I didn't think it was gonna live up to the same as El Capo, but I think he kept his momentum going with this. You know what I mean? Did nothing to deter or water his sound back down. Loved every minute of the the Fraud Department on there. I think of 10 songs, 11 songs.
I think it's at about 12, 13, but it's right. It's an album format.
It was 11.
Sure.
It was 11.
Okay, but yeah, it's just fire to me.
And then all the features that he had on here as well. You know what I mean? Just go perfect with him as well. So like he had quite a few features on here, and each one of them, none of them was subpar.
Yeah. So with that said, man, like, what would you tell people to go to Jim Jones first? Would you tell them to go to the El Capo with his resurgence and then go to this, like in the last few years?
Yes, go listen at that El Capo first. But he if you go to straight on this right here, that Laps Around the Sun, the intro on it, man, it's gonna grab you in as well too. It's gonna be like, this is not that same Jim Jones that you probably like if you're a Laps listener or whatever, that like I haven't heard, like this is what I expect him to be years ago. No, this ain't him. This more in depth, detail type storytelling type of rapper. So there you go.
Yeah, fine. So at number 2, I got my man Lloyd Banks, baby. It's Lloyd Banks. Like, that thing keeps aging like fine wine, and the reason being, it's the same thing with like Ransom, right? How Ransom is giving you life lessons on all of the joints he's doing that have that cinematic vibe. Like, I feel like I haven't heard Banks in such a long time. It's odd to hear him giving me his perspective on life or any other thing that I'm not used to hearing from Lloyd Banks over the years. So, you know, he's married now. He has a girl. He has kids now, and you're hearing from like fatherhood Banks, man. And it's crazy to really see, man. Like, I relate with a lot of the stuff that he's saying. So at this point, man, I can't find a real flaw in it other than what I said during the review. If you guys want to check out the review, it's on YouTube. Check that out. Also, we talked about it on Patreon with the backlash. So as far as from our review, so we both got lumped into that review in terms of how Prez felt about it and stuff like that. It was hilarious. But if you want to see how we really felt about it, check out the Patreon review or just go to episode 112, right? I think it was on episode 112 where we spoke on it, on how we review albums, and in particular the Lloyd Banks one. I think we had another, like Eminem was the other one, right? Where people
Eminem was
like,
the other one that where people, but I still stand firm on that. That didn't age well at all. It was just like it was hot for the moment, and then as more and more stuff come out, his voice just got drowned out by the better music, and like his style of rhyming that we'll talk on that again. I ain't trying to bring that into it, but yeah, it's just Eminem. You know, like when they first drop, it's hot. You know what I mean? But it seems like he's starting to get outdone by the competition.
Yeah. So as for me, man, the joints that you need to check out off of this one was Stranger Things, Break Me Down again, Food with Styles P. They both went bananas on that song to me, man. And then Death by Design and Formaldehyde with Benny the Butcher. But I can easily say that Propane, it starts out with that old school G-Unit type feel. You got Tony Yayo on there, and I was like, yeah, he set the tone on this joint. And then from there, man, he had Gangsta Gibbs doing his thing, Rock Marcy. Like I said, everybody came with it as far as the features. They respect Banks, so they came with quality verses. And I think Banks came with quality perspective verses throughout the whole thing. No matter what he was talking about, he always brought something back to the table in terms of something you could relate to. It wasn't too much shoot 'em up, bang bang shit on here. So welcome addition. If you guys are hearing birds and stuff like that chirp in the backgrounds, because we're outside, I'm outside recording this, so you get what you get.
Yeah, 19 songs is still kind of long, man.
Yeah,
I
no matter
think
who it is.
that's a lot, and so I just chop it up and take it in doses, and I think that helps it go over a little bit better instead of just trying to like rush through the full album, in my opinion.
Look at you being a patient listener. You know what I'm saying? Most people won't even do that. You know, 19 songs, I'm out of here. Like, you know, it's such a microwave society, man. We won't even appreciate the album because you see the track listing.
Yeah.
So all right, man. Who you got?
Number one. Cash. It's a trend going on here, so I'm gonna keep going with the trend. Currency. Collection.
What? Oh man.
Cash. I will tell you. Yeah, you know what? The life changes that have happened for me this year. I was a little bit high strung. Need to calm down a little bit, cool myself. This music helps me relax a little bit. You know what I mean? Get into that nice little chill vibe. Something that, you know, it's probably why I didn't like them, because my tempo was always up in regular life and everything. So now that I got a little time to relax and everything, I'm appreciating the artist a little bit more, Currency. And I think what drove me back to going back to this project, because I think I spoke on it in February, and I was just like, man, whatever, it's another Currency.
It's a spring collection, right? That's what you're talking about? No.
The collection agency.
The collection agency, yep.
Yep. And what drove me to go back to it was just that giving them props on his guest appearances, guest verses, and stuff like this. So I just went back probably about a month ago, and I'm like, man, okay, I get this now. I'm feeling it. It's like one song I don't know like on that was Arrival, and it was just more of just and it was Harry Fraud produced, but it was just like production, the sound of it, man, it felt like an elevator song. It was too slow in tempo for me. But Jermaine Dupri, man, I love that track on there. I think that was like the stand that was the standout one.
I remember a lot of people talking about it too. Like when it first came out, that song.
Yeah. All the other ones, great listen. Like I said, just Arrival is the only one I skipped. Other than that, the rest of the album's golden.
Yeah.
It has did a lot for my mental and my calming my nerves, man.
Yeah, he's fire, man. He's life. He was one of the guys I left off the list for sure. And if you thinking Currency isn't a vet, then I don't know what to say about you. You've been in the game super duper long, man. So
about 20 something years now.
Yeah, that collection agency is fire, man. Like I had to leave it off. It was a tough one to leave off, but I'm glad you covered it and found something in it. And it even making your number one, like if y'all don't know, like Prez never ever would listen to Currency, like, and it always boggled my mind with him being from down south and everything. Like it was always crazy, man. But with that said, man, my number one, we've spoken about it. You had him, I believe, as your number 2 or 3. I had Jim Jones, man. Jim Jones was it for me. Like there's not another career I can really say, Prez, that the guy just gets better. He just keeps on getting better and better as he ages, and it seems like don't even slow down, man. I remember he was saying on an interview recently with B Dot, I think it came out yesterday. He was talking about the autobiography of Jim Jones will be his last album, and he'll probably drop that sometime next year with all the list of projects he has coming, man. And I'm like, damn, like for him to be getting this nice and wanting to end it, I think it's some bull. But at the end of the day, man, like the dude's really good. Like you said, El Chapo is really good. The Fraud Department is a great follow up. What's that?
It's El Capo, ain't it?
Yeah, El Capo. Did I say El Chapo?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. El Capo. God damn, Press.
Man, I don't want you out there.
I mean, it's cool. Threw me off with the correction. All right, but yeah, the album's fire, man. And the funny thing that I found out that him and Harry Fraud still haven't met. They started a business together with software and how they're doing music and trading, verses, sounds, and all that, so people could be a lot more efficient in different places. So that was like one of the little wrinkles that I found in there. So to have that chemistry, that ear for beats on everything throughout here, like there's not a bad song on here. Lose Lose is a fire joint that he has on there. The one with Mano 3 cuts, like that's my shit, man. Like with the Jay-Z sample in it. Like I can go on and on for days, man. Laps Around the Sun. Like he's getting political. He's getting political. He's giving you some life things, and he's still giving you Jones, what he's known for, outlandish, bravado, all of that. You're getting all of that. So I could say that Jim just needs to keep going. This is one that you guys need to listen. If you haven't listened to Jim Jones in a while, like he said, go back to El Capo and then go to the Fraud Department, and I guarantee you won't stop listening to a Jim release, because I firmly believe that Jim is going to have one of those album of the years every year, as long as he keeps on putting out this type of quality material. So I've rocks with it, man. So that's my top 3.